this time on whatever we want, we talk about.
Shazam 2, Fury of the Gods. There are timestamps down in the description if you'd like to jump around different points in the episode. We talk everything from surprise cameos to unicorns. Enjoy! Welcome back to Wherever We Want, where we review content across all memes and media, movies, TV shows, video games, and beyond to give you the most interesting behind-the-scenes insights, storytelling techniques, all that jazz, and more.
We go over everything from Disney, Marvel, so we're gonna get right into it.
Alright, well, Shazam 2 was a movie, Daniel.
It was a movie. We can technically say that.
You freaking called me. So we saw it obviously around different sides of the country. You called me last night and you were just like, it sounded so, you had so much anger in your voice. You were like, do I have to stay for the post credits? And I was like, I mean, there are post credits, yeah, and I would like to talk about them. And you were like, all right. And then just hung up.
But dude, here's the thing, right? The experience was kind of terrible for me too. I don't know if it was.
I thought you liked the movie.
No, just the viewing experience itself was like also
why?
bad. Because there's like a group of teenagers behind me that like wouldn't shut up here and there. So it's like it's a bad movie, sure, but you're just like, being loud the whole time too. Like shut up. 2, I don't know if it was like a watermark from the projector or something, but there's like 2 like blobs. It could have been from filming. I don't know, but
I don't think so. I didn't see that, and I was in like I saw it in IMAX. So
okay, so it was probably in you saw it in IMAX.
Yeah, dude.
Why
I get
did you
IMAX.
see this in IMAX?
This is the thing. I had a good viewing experience because I usually get off work pretty late, so I scheduled a 9:30 screening, and I think it was like Dolby, but I actually ended up getting off work at like 6, and so I looked and it takes me an hour to get to the theater with LA traffic. And so I was like, oh, there's a 7 p.m. showing. I can like go that instead. And I just booked it. I didn't even look at what it was because I have the AMC stubs thing. So I like, it doesn't matter. It's just like all free. Like I get 3 free movies a week with the subscription. So like I just booked that. I didn't even know it was IMAX till I walked in and they were like, there's the IMAX theater. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. So like it wasn't intentional. It just was like worked out with time. But yeah, actually leading up to the viewing experience was a little crazy because I like left work at like 6:15 and then had to drive an hour to the theater, and I got there a little earlier, like 7:05, and my screening was at 7, but I hadn't eaten, so I ordered ahead to Chipotle right beside the theater, got it and scarfed it down because you can't bring food into the theater, and then like ran in and then went into the IMAX theater. My stomach was a little upset because I just like inhaled Chipotle, but I got to see the movie and get out at a decent time, so I was happy about that part.
I still got my bucket of popcorn.
Still popcorn. Oh yeah, you went last night. I forgot. I was like, what? Because I went 2 days ago.
And it's funny you say that because yes, I did go last night. You want to know the funny story about it though?
Nope. All right, moving on. I'm just kidding.
Okay.
What?
Well, no, like you texted me like, hey, so you seeing a live viewing because you wanted the game last night. When you first texted me that, I was like in my flow state at work. Or just working. I totally forgot that I needed to go. Like I literally
That's why I
did not
texted
want to
you.
see the movie so much. I forgot to. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm literally about to go see it, and I like checked on the on my phone.
That's
For me,
exactly
like,
why I texted you. Because I knew you'd probably forget to see it.
Dude, it started at like 8:30, and like it was like 8:28 at that time. I'm like, okay, I gotta go now. And thank God, like you texted me that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, no. By the time I walked into the theater, it like just started with like I saw like the Warner Brothers. Actually, no, it was like AMC Theaters lady, and then it was
Nicole Kidman.
And then it was the Warner Brothers.
AMC Theaters lady. That's how she's been demoted heavily. Yeah. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, I actually, because I scarfed down Chipotle, but also because of trailers, I was like still on time, even though I showed up late to my screening. I knew you would have forgot. Yeah, sorry.
One more thing. The theater that I was in too, because like you know, there's like the different sized ones at the AMC Camp Hill. It was theater 8, which is like the half one. So that just made it even worse because like everyone else was like closer.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I don't want people to see me watching this. You know?
I don't want anyone that I know to show up. So it sounds like you didn't like the movie, is what I'm hearing.
It was so okay. So let me get this. Let me say the good things about it first. Okay, the CGI was working for most of it. Honestly,
there were a few moments I was like, what? Like some of the unicorn contact shadows on the ground.
Yeah,
I was like, what?
I don't know. But I was thinking about like I was constantly comparing it to Black Widow.
Oh gosh,
which already says something about the movie. But
yeah.
Actually, let me ask you, which one would you rather watch? Black Widow or this?
See, I have good memories tied to Black Widow because I went to it with a girl at a drive-in. So
that's right. So you didn't even watch it. You just
So maybe I would say Black Widow just so I can remember the plot. So I would go and like actually see it. No, honestly, 100%. I would 100% watch Black Widow before this. Like, all jokes aside, I was actually wrote that I think I'd be 100% okay if I never saw this movie ever again in my entire life.
Agreed. And also, I don't know if I should probably tell the audience this, but I've never seen the first Shazam.
I forgot about that. Oh my gosh.
So I'm going into this with a different perspective, but even
Why
with
did you
that,
watch the first one?
because I want. Why? What is it going to add? Okay, it's a freaking movie about family. They literally ripped.
I
in
like the
movie,
family aspect
they
of it.
ripped. Well, yeah, but don't rip off literally Fast and the Furious and then claim that in the freaking movie. Like, I watched all the Fast and Furious movies.
Well, it's
lady.
funny because he's saying it to that girl. And she was in Fast and Furious, like the villain. It's like he's saying it to
she
her.
was.
Yeah, like the main
know
villain
that.
that he's literally saying that to. She's in the Fast and Furious movies. That's like the joke.
Oh, okay. You can't say the main villain, Jake, because the main villain changes
Oh,
throughout.
yeah, that's true. That also very much annoyed me. All the flip flopping and
Flip flopping with villains. What about your MacGuffins? What about
the apple to the staff to the
to
I
the
don't know,
staff again?
Skittles. I don't know.
To the Skittles
to the tree.
Yeah.
We're all over the place. I just want to give my overall quick thoughts. Like, going into this,
Mm-hmm.
I was not looking forward to this. Like, I think it was possibly my least anticipated movie of 2023. I think we said that. I think, like, because my bar was so low, I'm like, it was okay. Like, it's like a serviceable movie. It's nothing blew me away, like, at all. I think good things. The family dynamic was good. I enjoyed that. The like action was pretty meh, and there were like a ton of cheesy moments.
What's it with our boys and older women?
Yeah. But those are kind of just my overall initial thoughts. It still wasn't like a great movie, and I probably will never watch this again. It also just feels weird because like we know everything's resetting, so it's just like, what's the point? Like,
Exactly. That's why I was like, that's when I called you. I'm like, do the Easter eggs or the cut scenes at the end even mean anything? Like, why?
well,
We're
they're bringing the
resetting either way.
Peacemaker people over, I think. So
What?
maybe
Why?
because it's
In
James
this?
Gunn's creation. But yeah, why'd they bring? I don't know, the Justice Society and everything. We'll get to all that, Daniel. Let's run through like the characters.
There's a
So-
caterpillar man.
The caterpillar. Well, that's the thing. The caterpillar. So you say you didn't see the first one. The funny thing is, the caterpillar man, like that was the post credits of the first one. Literally, like the exact same thing. Like in a cell. That's why he's like, it took 2 years to come back. It's because the first one, the post credits set up the caterpillar man. But then the second movie, like Shazam 2, they didn't acknowledge it at all. So there, he came back and he's like, where were you?
It'd be so funny if in the reset that there's just nothing that like that whole line with the caterpillar just cut. So we just got those two little freaking scenes of the caterpillar man. And is that
Yeah.
Dr. Hugo Strange in there? Like what? Who's that guy?
I think no, that was the first villain. That was the villain of the first one.
Oh,
He's not Strange or Hugo Strange.
That's what
He's
I
the
said,
strange
'cause
guy.
He said
but-
doctor. And I was like, and he had like the bald and beard.
I
I'm
don't
like, that
think
kinda-
so. At least I think he's the villain from the first one. Like we saw the flashback, like where Shazam like broke the thing. He was the guy on the other side of that. I'm pretty sure.
I see. Okay.
Yeah, but like there was a lot of characters in this. Like a lot of characters. Like one would argue, and I'm one would argue too much. I am Neo, the one.
Dude, like here's the thing, right? You can have large team stuff work, like obviously, like Endgame. I'm thinking Endgame, which is like the ultimate, like big team, like it's like the fate of the world
But you have
stuff, right?
Like
but it's
years
managed
of movies
right.
supporting that.
Well, not
Years-
even that. Like even
Yeah.
if you just saw the movie itself, like it was still managed right. You know,
Yeah.
with how you're managing like time with people and like what
It's
you're
also tough
like,
because like it's almost like it's doubling the cast with the kids because you have the kids actors like when they're kids, but also they're the same characters but as adults. So it's sort of like less characters, but it feels like double because you have like two sets of actors playing the young kids and then the superhero kids.
yeah. Except for what was it, Mary, whatever.
Is
the
she
one
actually? Was there two actors for that, or was it the same? She looked.
I thought she was the same.
very similar. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like, I mean, she says she's 18, so I guess it would make sense for her to be.
Like once you
don't
turn
know.
18, you're just when you become Shazam, you just become yourself, but like with a suit on.
I guess like you just like
She's
buff
no
up,
longer a kid.
and it's just like.
Yeah, that was one of my big issues. Is like I think I said this in the first one. Like I think now that you've seen a little bit, like maybe we could relate to that. But like I think the young kid Shazam, like Billy Batson, is literally an adult. So like him becoming older Shazam is just him becoming like an older adult. Like the young kid Shazam, I feel like there's some disconnect. Like Zachary Levi's like, oh, I'm a kid, I'm gonna go to the pediatrician and get like therapy and stuff. Blah, blah, blah. I'm trying to keep it together. But then like he's all frantic, like trying to be like kid energy. And then when it's like Billy Batson, like the teen, he's just like sad and like an angsty, like way more chill teen. And I feel like there's a disconnect. Like
yeah, no, I definitely agree. I agree with that.
I don't believe that like when Billy Batson grows up, he's becoming Shazam. It feels like a different character, and I don't think it's the fault of either actor. I just don't think they're working.
I don't think
together.
there's synergy there, like with how they were planning on portraying it, which is fine. But you know, it still kind of sucks a lot.
It's not really fine. It's the main.
It's not actually. I don't know why I said that. I think I just did the casual, like you know when like you say it's fine, but like really nothing's fine. And
yeah.
You know what pissed me off the most?
I like Zachary Levi like as a person. What?
Yeah, no, he's great as a person. Really funny guy, but like just
a decent job.
I'm sorry. But this movie is.
I think. Sorry, just before we move on from Billy Batson, like I do like this core that Billy is trying to hold on to everything, because the first one, a big part of it was like he was left as an orphan as a kid, and so this one, it's a good continuation. It makes sense that like he's trying to.
But what's our log line, Jake?
To friends and everything.
What's the movie's log line?
What is the log line? It's a boy that can become a man superhero, fights a dragon, and many MacGuffins with Steve the Pen as the sidekick.
Honestly,
Steve was my favorite part.
Wow.
Actually, no. Freddy.
I'm Warner Brothers. I'm giving you however much money, millions needed to be to make this.
What was the budget? Shazam 2.
Oh my god!
Budget.
It all went to the CGI and not the writing. I can tell you that.
$125 million, which is $25 million higher than his predecessors. Wait. Opening in 4,000 theaters, the superhero sequel will likely struggle to reach a $30 million debut. That is bad. Oh my gosh.
Why can't I be given that much money and make a piece of shit? Come on.
Yeah, I feel like I think the closest like connection that I like bought, but from like young kid actor to old superhero actor was the
Freddy
girl. No, I think the young girl, like the actress that played her when she became like a superhero, was like really like a young, like sweet, innocent girl. And, like, sometimes a little over the top, but I like bought it that time.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
But yeah, I liked Freddy a lot. Actually, speaking of,
yeah,
I think he was my favorite part of this film.
Yeah, I can't play favorites with levels so low on this. I just can't. It's like saying like
evil.
Oh my god, it's like me rating my favorite kind of shit. Like it's shit. You know, it's
No, but Daniel, you know that the kind where it's just like plops out and then you got the no wipe, like
no,
it's just magic.
I'm not
That's
getting into
Freddy.
this. No.
Okay, no, just kidding.
But you know what? You know what pissed me off the most in this entire movie?
What?
Anne or Anna, whatever her
really
name was. Yes.
Why? I liked the Freddy Ann relationship.
Why?
Because
I'm with my sisters, and I'm planning on growing back my garden. But actually,
she just has the garden,
dude. She's out of nowhere. She's like, "Oh, this boy's showing me affection. Oh, that gets my 6,000-year-old bussy wet." Okay.
Oh, that's yeah. She did kind of lose sight of everything.
Yes.
That's like she's like the opposite anti-Omni-Man. Like Omni-Man like makes sense where he's like, this girl's like my wife is like a pet to me more because I'm like a god.
It's almost like it makes logical sense about the correlation of that kind of character's perspective.
Yeah, but as
they're in the world.
I hear you. I totally hear you. I personally really like a good like underdog, like the nerd gets the girl story.
No.
Like I just like that at a base level.
No. Base level, sure, fine. You know, Megan Fox and Sam Witwicky, sure. But hear me out, okay? No. Because this was so freaking forced. Every scene that you saw Freddy, he was like, okay, oh, woman. Ooh.
I disagree with that. I don't think it was that bad at all.
I feel like every time I saw him or her, they're either like thinking about each other or like they're doing things.
When you like someone. What?
Why is there that subplot? There's no point in it. Especially when he's trying to, I think you already set up the subplot of him trying to find his own identity away from the family and be able to do what he wants to do.
Yeah, that's what I wish they would have like dived into that more. Like I wish that's one thing I really liked about Freddy. Like that, like you said, like he had that arc of kind of like wanting to. Like he had something there. Like
I want to be my own man.
Not even just that, but I think he they were kind of touching upon how he doesn't like who he is as like the disabled kid when he's not in superhero form. So he's like trying to run away to be the superhero like as much as he can possibly be, like especially without the family. I wish they like kind of dove into that more. And I think they were trying to like touch upon that, and like Anne kind of brought that out of him. And I like the actress that played Anne, like Rachel Zegler. She was in West Side Story, and she's also playing the Snow White in the live action remake next year. But yeah, I don't know. They were like, I like also that Freddy was like really strong mentally and like could resist the dragon and chaos and stuff. I wish they just fleshed it out a little further. There were, again, too many characters that like, I feel like none of them got time to shine. I think this would have been the perfect opportunity to let Shazam die, because like they're resetting the universe. And everything. Like,
you think that, but
I thought they were gonna go that way, and then freaking
Wonder Woman comes in and gives everybody powers back, and gives a freaking god that's a higher level than her powers back, apparently, because apparently this is the magical capability to restore the wand or the staff.
I kind of liked Wonder Woman's inclusion. It's also good
I liked her in the dream.
Her last inclusion was not Wonder Woman 1984. Now it's this, which I don't know which is worse, but I don't know. Sure. All right, let's talk about the other villains. The villains briefly. Villains were kind of like pretty lackluster in my mind. Like you knew their motives, which I always say is a mark of a true villain, when you can understand like why they want something. But like they very clearly spelled it out, like that analogy with like if a robber would steal your stuff and then they drop it, the neighbor picks it up. Is everything okay? And I was like, that makes sense. Like, I understand why they want the powers back, but it just still was just so bland and kind of just cliche that I was like, whatever, man. Like, I just did not care for these villains too much. And again, they set up the caterpillar at the end of the last one. I was like, where's that guy? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't even know that. But I totally agree with the villains. The sisters were very also, I feel like their acting was the worst, like the absolute worst, especially when they were interacting with each other. Like, sisters, we are going to plant the seed. But sister, wait, why don't we take revenge instead?
Yeah, I think all the monologuing like really killed all of the, like there was a lot of just like standing around talking in this movie, which kind of like killed all the momentum that was building. Like, for example, the one that comes to mind that you just reminded me, like when like there's the final third act finale when like the dome is really small around the Phillies stadium, and then like the dragon and Shazam are like in the same place. Then Shazam like flies down and talks to his family for like 5 minutes, and I'm like, why is the dragon
he already
just like
did this?
And then he walks down, the dragon's just waiting patiently for him. I'm like, why is the dragon like not attacking you? Like, why was the villain like let him say goodbye to his family? It was just like patiently waiting. I was like, what is that?
Plus, you already had your goodbye earlier at like in the parking lot thing or on it. So like,
why? And
Why?
also like
Why?
the like spatial whatever continuity didn't seem to make sense, because like the scene before they drive up and like they're at the Philly stadium, like all of them were on the unicorns in like a completely different part of Philly, and then all of a sudden they're like by the stadium, and I'm like, what? But
my favorite character is probably Steve, because he literally couldn't say shit.
Which one's
like,
Steve?
The fucking pen.
Oh, the pen? Oh, yeah. I like Steve.
That's the only likable character in this.
Yeah. I think, speaking of, we were talking about Wonder Woman earlier. I think there were a few other cameos that I thought were pretty interesting that I clocked. So right when the like monsters are being birthed from like the tree roots and like chaos is happening around town. First of all, that whole thing was like, what? Like another army of like monsters, whatever.
Yeah. Like,
it was just whatever.
Phantom Menace style, whenever the lady died.
Yeah. But anyways, when that happened, I think one of the first people that got like, I think he got picked up by like one of the flying ones was I'm like 99% sure it was David F. Sandberg, the director of this. And the reason I recognized him is because he was on VFX Artist React on Corridor. So I like saw him and I was like, oh shoot, like that's the director. And I looked him up and I'm like 99% sure it was him. It was a really quick shot, so I'd have to double check. Yeah. But I think that. And also, I think the guy that was in like the very weirdly red and yellow shirt was the first Shazam from like the TV show back in the day, Jackson Bostwick. You know, when like Shazam gets hit by the dragon, like hits his head on the car and then stands up and there's like a bunch of people that are like cheering for him. Yeah, I think that was Jackson Bostwick. And he actually, I looked him up because I was like, is that him? And I was like looking him up. He was born in Carlisle, PA. So I was like, what? That's cool. Oh. It's like where we're from. So yeah.
Why is Shazam so local?
I don't know. Yeah, for real. Maybe that's why it's in Philly, because they're like, we gotta respect the original Shazam or something. Speaking of, let's talk about all the like Philly references, because I was like, yeah, PA represent.
Yeah.
I mean, there was they have, you know, that like when they do the Fast and Furious moment, they're at a cheesesteak like place. So I was like, yeah, Philly cheesesteak. I mean, the Philly Stadium, of course. And I saw they had the first shot of the Philly Stadium that we saw. There was like a Yingling logo along the bottom, and I was like, yes, Yingling. And that actually like made me so happy and like brought my movie going experience up just slightly. The thought of Yingling.
Nice.
Yeah, and then
Okay, what was that first bridge that like collapsed in the movie?
oh yeah, the like is it the Ben Franklin or Thomas Jefferson?
I think it
bridge?
was
some
No, I think it was
famous
Ben.
old guy bridge. Yeah.
Yeah. There's like that one shot with like the capital of Philly, or like not the capital Philly, because capital Pennsylvania is in Harrisburg. It's
Yeah.
it's the one building where this oh god they have
Like
the
main building. I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like they have the statue, and there's like the gold dome base, and then it's like really tall. And the way you get there is like the street goes like this.
I think it's Broad
like,
Street. Is that on
rectangles
Broad
around.
Street?
I think so. I haven't been to Philly in a while.
Yeah, I think that's Broad Street.
But you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like
I know.
Yeah. What is the purpose of that building again? What do they do there? It's like legal stuff.
A purpose
Rain.
it's to stop rain from falling on you, so you're
Okay.
inside. I don't know.
That's
Dude, I don't know the
what I
purpose of
needed
that
during
building.
this. That's what I needed during this movie. Honestly, I
Rain?
need something to catch all the BS rain that was raining down.
I thought you were saying like you wanted it to rain in the theater so that you could like your emotional state could like match how you were feeling.
Honestly, probably.
Yeah. I really wanted him to lean into Philly more. Like, they leaned into it enough, but I was like, I want him to like grab the Liberty Bell by like a chain and like whack the dragon with it.
Yeah, like a ding.
Like a mace. That would have been so sick.
Yeah, that would have been cool.
So yeah, I don't know. I think the first one, again, you haven't seen the first one. I think a lot of the charm of the first one was like, oh, he's a kid who's got superpowers. And so he's like, let's do all the things adults can do that kids can't do. Like, let's get beer. Like, they do that in the first one. And I think there was like a little like, there's some charm to it. And I think this one, it's like, all right, they've been doing it for a few years. It's old news. Like, let's just go. And it just felt like, I kind of lost a little bit of that charm of the first one in my mind.
Yeah, no, I can agree to that.
I think there were the family moments. I did like a lot of that, like a lot of the dynamic between the heroes and like the foster parents. I got a little emotional when he called her mom. I was like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
it wasn't like super hard hitting, but like it was enough that I was like, you know what, that's something decent out of everything else that's happening in this movie. So
that's something else I was waiting for, was just the mom out of nowhere. He'd be like, oh, mijo. You know, just
okay.
It's had that energy. Like, I was thinking like Riverdale the whole time. Because that's like one of the funny tropes that me and James talk about when it came to that show. Because there's the one dad that's always like, "Ah, mija," you know, it's like just the thing he says. That's like daughter or son. So I was expecting her to be like, I don't know, spade aside, pull that out. But there's something else too. There's like I was making literal jokes in my head of like what I would say to you as things. Oh, so like when they're driving the van, right, and they drive over the Minotaur, I'm like, huh. That's what I call ground beef. You know, like I was literally thinking stuff like that.
What if like they said that like as they do it, like the dad like leans over.
I would have walked out.
Dude, he would have gotten laid so hard that night if he said that. I also think, I don't know if you thought this in your experience, speaking of just like movie like experience, but like I was in IMAX, like I said, so the music was very loud and prominent, and like I mean, all the sound was. But I felt like the music, again, I don't know if it was because it was IMAX. This is what I want to gauge if you felt this way too. But like I felt like the music was very much used as like a crutch, like no joke intended with Freddie and everything. But like
very much intended.
I think they relied on it like too much. Like instead of like supporting impactful moments, it was like being used to tell me like what emotion to feel in this moment. Because like I feel like the story wasn't doing that well enough on its own. I don't know.
Yes, and that's why I said very much intended, because I felt like they knew that their writing was so bad. Like that, you have to know. You have to know. So you're gonna have to try to force it, or try to do something to bring that quality back in a way. But it didn't work out. So it's like
a Band-Aid solution kind of thing.
Yeah, that's what it felt like.
Yeah.
Like even in the beginning when they're doing "I Need a Hero," they started off the song, they cut out of it.
Yeah, that was weird, and then they cut back into it.
I'm like, maybe
like the song isn't long enough to stretch the whole sequence, so they were like, we gotta cut it up somehow. I don't know. Yeah, I like that first sequence though, like establishing that they're like well-oiled, not well-oiled, but just like superhero team. They've been doing it for a while on the bridge. Like it was okay. It just felt like it was just random events. They weren't like working together as a team, which I guess was like the point. But like the one was like we spent a lot of time on the guy that was like trying to mend on the bridge. I'm talking about to mend the
the
cables.
wires, the cables.
Yeah, the cables to the bridge, and then like we spent like a lot of time on that, and then like it led to nothing because they just all broke and the bridge fell. Which like I don't know.
That's the thing too, right? I'm trying to think about it logistically. Like they didn't cause the breaking of the bridge, and they saved everybody, and then the city still shits on them. I feel like
that's like Spider-Man's thing.
Well, yeah, but like,
but he has someone with an agenda against him, like J. Jonah Jameson. I don't know who's the
they kept on
Philly
saying
representative.
The Tribune,
who's the Philly representative that's against the freaking Team Shazam, whatever they're called, Team Friendship. I just watched Puss in Boots again last night, so that's stuck in my head. Philly Fiascos. Yeah,
this movie is a fiasco.
It's a disaster. Ha.
No.
Anyways,
also, what's going on with the door thing? Was that in the first movie?
I don't remember. I honestly don't remember. Also, yeah, there was that secret library all of a sudden. I'm going to take my vacation at the library.
Literally, that happened, and I was like, so we're stealing from Monsters, Inc. now, too? Like,
I think that might have been in the first one, but they didn't, like, explore it at all. And this one just kind of felt like a cheap plot device where they could just get to the Daughters of Atlas at will.
Yeah, and then the random-ass library with Steve.
But it gave us Steve, so I can't complain.
No, I can complain.
I like Steve. I did like that. There were some good humor moments. There was like a lot, and some of it didn't land, but a lot of it I thought was decent. It was maybe too much, like a little heavy-handed, but like I did like the gag of like this pen is writing everything they say, so that like when the super serious villain is just reading it out, it's just like a transcript of everything that's happening in that room. Like, oh, that's good. Like, yeah, keep going. And now you need to come and save whatever. And like I liked all that stuff.
But also with that, there's like the moments where you have like Freddy and the Wizard, and they're like, "Oh, your knees crack too much."
Yeah, like
where'd that come from? And then you gotta have Freddy like literally rolling around, making so much noise, but the sisters don't hear, because or when they try to exit through the one door, and the one sister's walking through the apple in the first place.
Yeah,
and, like literally the sound editing was making it sound like they were stomping so freaking loud, and it's just like, how does she not hear them?
Yeah, I mean, they are like thousands of years old. Maybe their ears aren't what they used to be. I don't know. But no, I totally get that.
So also, let me get this straight, right? When they went to the library, they explained the garden and the dragon thing, right?
I think so.
And they're like,
a lot of it was exposition heavy in that.
Yes,
and
it was very
again, there were
bad
so many characters like talking. They were trying to get through it quick, where they were like, "This person knows this bit of information. This person," and they were like bouncing off each other. And I was just like, "I'm not really tracking this." Like, I didn't know the apple was important until she grabbed it and it became gold, and I was like,
"Yes,
oh, okay." I thought he just had this random apple.
Yeah, literally, I'm like, is this the safe place? This is literally just a random ass apple. Are there not more in your private garden? Like, is that legitimately a thing? Like, and I was like, okay, that's good to know, I guess.
It gives you regen for a few seconds. I know that.
Yeah, so that's it. Also, the way, this isn't like a bad note. I just
something in the way.
Well, no, something in the earth or sea. Because when she planted the seed and like punched it through the ground,
the
CGI there was like a little bit wonky. But I'm like, damn, she really just like did that.
Yeah. Sorry, I was talking about the jokes and cheesy bits. This was one of my complaints of the last one. Like, I feel like this is superhero movies. Like, a lot of kids are gonna watch this, whatever. I felt like it was very cheesy with the comedy, but then like, there were deep themes and like horrifying creature design. Like, the creatures were like pretty like gross to look at. And I was like,
see like the birth, quote unquote, of the unicorn.
Yeah, I was like, what audience is this for? I feel like kids would like. I was a little freaked out by like all the creature design. It was pretty cool, like from a design standpoint. But I was like, oh my gosh! And then like all the jokes stuff. I was like, we are on like two ends of the spectrum on the same movie, and it just felt like it didn't know what
it was very
doing.
Weird.
And that's how I felt with the first one, with like the 7 deadly sins. The design was like really out there. Like, they really pushed for that, but like it didn't feel like it necessarily fit in the tone.
It was the 7 deadly sins for the first one.
Yeah, they're like gray globby monsters, and it's really bad design in my mind.
That's just I don't even see it. That just made it. That literally just took my expectations of the first Shazam even lower. I didn't even know that was possible.
Yeah, man.
Oh my god! Next you're gonna tell me that. Oh my god! I don't even know, dude. I don't know what else could make that worse.
I don't even remember anything about the first one besides that. I did like the VFX for when the girl was like doing all the Doctor Strange stuff and like moving all the buildings and stuff. She was really freaking powerful. Like that
She did that too often though. Not gonna
yeah,
lie.
that's the thing. I think it was a little overused.
They said, "Hey, we figured out this process. Let's keep on using it because our VFX artists."
It looked cool. I honestly didn't
cool.
mind too much. I liked it when she was like getting shot with the. I really liked the use of it. They used when she was like the other sister turned and was like trying to take her powers away, and she like whisked herself away. I thought that was a really cool shot. But then like the beam found her anyways. Whatever.
Yeah. Even though in like every other shot where like they use the beam to like take the powers away from one of the Shazam fam, it was
Shazam fam. That's so cool.
They were able to dodge.
Shafam.
Shazam.
Shazam. Yeah.
Shazam.
What'd you think of the dragon?
CGI was cool.
Dragon D's balls across your face. Sorry.
Very not necessary.
Yeah, I feel like when I saw it in the trailer, I thought it was gonna be like maybe like a second act like minor villain. I didn't realize it was gonna be like the main bad for the entire third act. I don't know. I that's just maybe my expectations.
Like we gotta blow it up. Like
yeah,
okay.
It was cool that it was made of wood. It was funny. Like that's a serious design flaw with the fire and stuff. I was like, yeah, that's funny. But again, I feel like that's something that like the kid, like I would never say. Like the kid of Shazam would never be like that's a design flaw. Like all blah, blah, blah. Like he just seems so much more chill than like Zachary Levi, like bubbly superhero.
I'm not arguing that at this point. I'm just, at that point, Jake, I was just sitting there eating my popcorn saying, what else is going to happen? Because honestly, that third act kept on going and going and going.
I know,
and going.
the unicorn, the taste of rainbow came out of nowhere. But I thought it was funny when you just threw him up. I was like, this cannot work. And it worked. But I wonder either how much Skittles paid for that or how much
that's
they
the thing,
paid
dude.
Skittles for that.
One of the teenagers behind me I told you about, when she fed the unicorns, right? The guy behind me was like, oh, watch now. They're going to start changing colors because they're black. They're going to start changing colors to be the rainbow. And I'm like, honestly, that would have been a cool visual.
Yeah.
But also very dumb. So if they did, that would have made that a lot worse. But like he said it, and with how the movie was going, I would not have been surprised.
Yeah, I was honestly
straight up would
looking
not
for
have
that
been
too.
surprised.
Yeah. I feel like this was doomed to from the start since they had already announced they were resetting the DCU. I really pray they don't bring any of these characters over. I think the kids are too old now. That was like one of my biggest things.
Yes.
Would you want a Shazam 3 if this universe was not about to be reset?
I didn't want a Shazam 1.
Yeah, same.
Okay,
so
but
no.
here's the thing. I could have used a Shazam 1 if they did Billy Batson properly.
You didn't watch Shazam 1. What do you mean?
But that's my point. I didn't watch it because I didn't need to because of how many times I've heard that is like terrible, a bad movie, and there's no need to watch it because it doesn't even connect to any of the other DCEU stuff at the time. So my point is I'm thinking again to like Billy from like other comic storylines or like from different media like animation or games. Dude, Billy from the Injustice universe became like the moral compass that people relied on until freaking Superman murdered him.
Yeah.
So it's like,
The first Shazam got 90% on Rotten Tomatoes. I just saw.
What was the Metacritic or what was the
Well, that was the critic score. The audience score is 82%.
audience? Yeah. Really?
Yeah. I think, like I said, the first one has a lot of charm where it's like he's just a kid. They have like this whole training montage sequence where like Freddy's like filming him on his phone, like, let's see what powers you have. And they go through all these tests and he's like, it's funny. Like there's some good moments, but I just think this one, I actually want to see what it is, what's on Shazam 2, what it's on at Rotten Tomatoes right now. It is at 54%. Wait, what? For critic, but 86 audience? It's higher audience than Shazam 1? I don't believe that. Daniel, I think we've become too critical. I think we're more agreeing with critics now these days than audience members.
No, Jake, it's not even that. Because like, I feel like the target audience here is different than us. I think that's the core of it.
I don't know the target audience because like there's all the kid jokes, but then there's like the horror monsters. Like I don't know what's happening.
I'm just going to say, Jake, it's not us. It is not us.
It's never our fault. Yeah, what else? I think there were maybe like a few things I wanted to talk about. Oh yeah, post credits, the Justice Society. Maybe that's how they were
Why
planning.
is he shooting lightning at bottle cans at a random gas station in the middle of nowhere?
Maybe
is that his like secret?
No, I
think
think they were told they were going to meet there, so I think he was waiting for them.
I see.
But maybe that's how they were going to connect Black Adam to him, because the Justice Society like was in Black Adam, so maybe that's how they were going to tie those two together if this universe wasn't about to be reset. Yeah. What else? Such a mad movie in my opinion. I feel like the only other superhero family movies are like The Incredibles and Fantastic Four, and like that. This is nowhere near that. So knowing that, I'm just like, bleh.
Spider-Man is more of a family movie than this with like Aunt May and all that. Like, dude,
My last thing, it's bad, but my favorite part of my Shazam movie experience was seeing the TMNT trailer before, because I was like, oh, that's cool.
I didn't even get that because I showed up late.
I know, dude. But it was cool to see that in IMAX, dude. It was like, whoa.
Yeah, I bet.
That was
dude,
sick.
That would have been dope.
No, IMAX, Daniel.
Okay.
All right. Also, The Little Mermaid. I saw a trailer for that, the live action, and I really like those songs. And Ariel's my first crush, so I hope that's good. Anyways, anything else you want to talk about Shazam before we jump in the next segment? I feel like we need to like move on.
I need a memory. I need like a Call of Duty. What was it? Black Ops.
Pass out.
Memory wipe.
Yeah.
Like just freaking brainwash me. Get that removed. What are the numbers? What do they mean, Mason? They mean the Shazam movie's gone from my brain. That's pretty much it.
Okay, ready for TTTT?
Yeah.
All right, this is actually a pretty serious one. Did you know that the songwriter for Beauty and the Beast passed away before the movie was released?
Really?
Yeah, so Howard Ashman was the songwriter responsible for bringing a taste of Broadway to Disney's animated movies that literally like kicked off the Disney Renaissance. He wrote the iconic songs for The Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, and some of Aladdin. But while in the middle of production on The Little Mermaid, he was diagnosed with AIDS, but he kept working. He actually finished the songs for that, for Beauty and the Beast, and was part of the way through the songs of Aladdin when he passed away. He never got to see Beauty and the Beast or Aladdin. He passed away like 8 months before Beauty and the Beast release, but at the end of final credits of Beauty and the Beast, the film was dedicated to him, and it reads, "To our friend Howard, who gave a mermaid her voice and a beast his soul, we will be forever grateful." And just as someone who has been touched and impacted by Howard's work like an entire generation later, I wanted to thank him for that.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah. All right. Ready for Patron?
Well, I kind of got my own. It's not TTT, but it's also memorial kind of thing in a way.
Oh, okay.
Because there's a famous actor and voice actor that also just passed away yesterday. Lance Reddick.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it's R-E, so I don't know if it's Reddick or Riddick. I always just say Reddick.
He was like 62.
Yeah, he was 60 and he passed away no, he was just 60.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So, very sad. My favorite work that he was in was always the Destiny franchise. I've been playing Destiny since like day one. So, and he for Jake, for your reference, he was like the leader of like humanity pretty much.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, seeing him pass is like a very, very sad thing. But it's also very nice and heartwarming seeing like a lot of like community members from like people that enjoyed a lot of his different media like come together and memorialize him in a way.
Yeah.
Some of the things they've been doing. So
peace.
Yeah, rest in peace.
Ready for this is a weird pivot, but patron shout outs, I guess.
Yeah, sure.
All right.
Thank you guys for your money now.
Yeah. See the epic stars, Yusuf, Boosh, we got Patron, Lori, Frank, Rick, Lisa, Evan, Tony. Thank you so much for pledging the tier. Thank you to the shout out. Like support us over on Patreon. Like down in the description. Get the audio episode early, special plans, school perks, all that jazz, and more. Thank you seriously, sincerely to our Patreon supporters. Ready for cool comments?
Yeah, we got this time.
So this is actually really funny. Like on our If Puss in Boots 2 doesn't win an Oscar, I quit 2023 Oscar predictions episode. I literally that was a month ago when the Oscars were announced, and the Oscars have happened since then. Like literally, I was watching the Oscars, and the moment that Pinocchio won, and Puss in Boots lost the animated feature Oscar, 2 minutes later, I got a notification, an email. It was like, someone commented in your video. And I looked, and it was someone said it didn't win Lamau. And I was like, what? So they were waiting to see if it won and instantly commented.
And then,
I guess. I don't know. But it was just so instantaneous. But I just want to actually briefly talk about the Oscars. Any highlights or Oscar upsets you were like, whoa, or like, man?
Nobody got slapped this time, man.
I know. I did like all the jokes with like the one at the end where it's like years Oscars without any incidents, and he flipped it to one. That was pretty funny. I think I saw a pretty funny interview with like Seth Rogen. It was like a little like, I don't know, but so All Quiet on the Western Front like won a bunch. It's like a German film, and Seth Rogen, I saw like on an interview the next day, was like talking about how he felt like a little weird because he was there with like Steven Spielberg, who's Jewish, and like he was like, the Germans are like beating us at every category. This seems like a little repeat of history, kind of like bad situation going on.
Oh my god. That's pretty funny.
But yeah, my highlight, I think my favorite moment of all the Oscars was Harrison Ford presenting Best Picture to Everything Everywhere All at Once, and then him and Ke Huy Quan like hugging. Yep. Like that was, I could watch that forever.
That was so
him
tender.
with Indiana Jones in short round. So pure. Ford so happy. Yeah, and then so Ke Huy Quan winning Best Supporting Actor and Brendan Fraser winning Best Actor. I did like that. The Dream, like we talked about on that last episode. Yep. I'm sure also Austin Butler will have plenty of other chances to win.
Yeah.
Unless he becomes like the next Leonardo DiCaprio where he just keeps getting snubbed or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. That was everything I had about the Oscars. Any other final wrap-up thoughts for you?
No, I didn't really watch it. I saw like the key moments there. Hacky. All
right. Ready for the introduction.
Yeah, tell me when.
When?
We just talked about what we want to talk about. Now we're done. Thank God. Blah.
Thank you so much for listening. Really appreciate it. We'll be back next time. I think we have an animation, going back to the animation episode next week, where we're doing like a bracket where so we talked about the best first films. Now we're going to go through and decide what's the best film from each studio, and then ultimately put them against each other and determine what the best film is.
Yes.
So subscribe for that. We'll be back next time. Goodbye.
Goodbye.